Hey guys, so this is sort of a response to Soulfetcher's video on the human evolution, and it's called "Evolve Past This." Um, I think he raised some great points on what our not really our problem, but our challenge is in this day and age. And I guess to sum up the parts that really hit home for me was the idea that we are not a finished species. We aren't just human beings thrown down here or emerging out of the jungle and out of evolution and just taking what we can get. We are capable of changing, and not only that, but we have been changing constantly. There's never been something that has been the same. Even our own consciousness has been able to introspect more. And this new ability in evolution, the ability not to just war and fight, but to introspect, has had almost like a twofold, been a double-edged sword. On one hand, we are capable of thinking about ourselves more, but on the other, we still have more violent tendencies, and we can use this new uh, edge of the sword to bring out those tendencies without really thinking about them as deeply. So we are emerging from the jungle. We are an inherently violent species. We have we have an ego. We have destructive tendencies, and we may be an evolutionary dead end that destroys itself. But on the other hand, this other edge of the sword of introspection, if cultivated, um, is capable of taking us out of this rut, this evolutionary dead end, in which we destroy ourselves and possibly the world. And we transcend that. And the ability to have a transparency of mind, to introspect, and not just logically, but a seeing through of the mind and of the self and who you are. That is so important. And any kind of um, transformative event in human history has been a sort of emerging transparency of the physical world and of ourselves. As we become more transparent with ourselves, we are capable of not being trapped inside of almost like a carcinogenous fate. Um, and what I mean by that, we're almost driven to the point where we don't reflect that much on what we're doing to ourselves in the world. But the consequences of that can be human destruction, the end of civilization, the end of human life, the end of life on Earth. And we're too short-sighted. So to counterbalance that, to add a new evolutionary element that is a trait that we already have, but to maximize the potential of that trait, to really bring that out, would mean to, in the words of the mystics and the spiritual teachers, to gain more insight into our nature, to reflect more on ourselves. And to do that, um, we already have many spiritual teachings and mental teachings. If you don't like the word spiritual, that's fine. There's mental. There's the ability to introspect, and that I guess is two things so far. I guess to summarize, rationally thinking about ourselves in perspective of us and others. Seeing how we come off to others, seeing psychological traits, transparency of self in that way. And then there's the complement complement to that being meditation, and just not the thing that is seen, but the seeing and the knowing. It's hard to explain, but it really is just an observance. And the more you observe, the more transparent who you are becomes. The less identified with thoughts, ideologies, um, belief systems that you become. And then, on an even more psychological level, the less identified you become with these psychological traits, and the more you begin to let them go and let something deeper and more radiant shine through. So, this evolution is a conscious choice at this point, because unless we discern our true nature, as a Buddhist might say, unless we begin to introspect and actively seek out the transparency of ourselves in the world, we will continue to battle things out until it's too late. So I think Soulfitcher brought up some excellent points about um, evolution being in our hands now, and it really is. Many of us are afraid to do this because we have to face, our shadows, but the only way to truly develop personally and collectively is to do that, to face our shadows. And the only person who can do that is you. So on a very, very simple level, it begins with individuals taking more um, energy and awareness to themselves, and not getting stuck in one view or another, and not getting stuck in one emotion or trait or um, identification. I am this, I am that, I am. That falls away. So, what do we have in the 21st century? Maybe the possibility of a civilization that takes this transparency, this introspection very seriously. Serious enough to do it more often, maybe, and serious enough for that wisdom to reverberate and resonate with a greater whole. Right now, not only so many people see videos like this and think, meditation's all well and good. They won't see the connection that's, you know, part of this greater picture. But I think as time goes on, it'll be seen as much more important. And once it's really beginning to click, I think there'll be many transformations and many insights that weren't possible before. But yeah, thanks for that video, and thanks for listening.